Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first Strixhaven draft that we're going to be doing today. So we've got the blue and then red Deans, which I think is generally good enough that I can probably take it as the rare. I don't know that taking Dragon's Approach is the way we want to start. Although I'm sure there is a Dragon's Approach limited deck. I think it involves opening a mythic dragon. Unfortunately, our first Mystical Archive card is Defiant Strike, which is not that great. The other, this is an okay rare, but I'm looking more at actually taking something like Bayou Groff, which is just a efficiently costed creature. There is a hard removal spell. I think I'm going to take the hard removal spell. I don't actually know about that as my my rare. Black also seems like a pretty decent color to be in. All right, let's see. There's Ingenious Mastery, which is the draw spell. There's an Opt, a Storm Kiln Artist, another Bayou Groff, Introduction to Annihilation, which is a lesson that is also a decent removal spell. So the black colors are black, green, and black, white. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, it gains your choice of flying or lifelink. That seems pretty good. Between this and Introduction to Annihilation, I think I take this. Ingenious Mastery does seem strong, but I think kind of cutting these colors is rather where I would be. Okay, so in this pack we have Lash of Malice. That's a pretty shock. Mortality Spear. Costs 2 less to cast if you gain life this turn. Destroy non-land permanent? That seems strong. Silverquill Apprentice. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature gets 1/0 until end of turn. And Spiteful Squad, which in our experience during the Sealed, Spiteful Squad was actually really strong. I think I'm going to take Mortality Spear. Just destroy a non-land permanent seems really good. So there's Inkling Summoning, which is a lesson that we can use to make a 2/1 flyer. There's the Zombie Crocodile with Trample and Lifelink. Novice Dissector, which is what it wants us to take. I think I take the Karok because the Lifelink is important to turn on some of the life gain riders that we're going to be seeing in black and green. This card also did seem kind of strong as well. Pillar Drop Rescuer. When it enters the battlefield, you return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, I think the Karok is where we want to be. And right now it's kind of looking like black and green. There's a 5 mana 3/3 flyer with Ward, pay 3 life. And we could go into white if we get some fixing. But right now I think we're going to stick with black-green. Blood Researcher is pretty strong. Just gaining life, putting 1/1 counters on Blood Researcher. It also has Menace. Create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token and learn. Hunt for Specimens does not seem bad either because we do not have a lot of low mana costs yet, but I think Blood Researcher is higher priority here. Let's see. Fractal Summoning is a lesson we can play out of the sideboard. Promising Dusk Mage is a creature we could be playing in our main deck. I could take the Quandrix Campus if I maybe want to splash. Biblioplex Assistant. 4 mana 2/1, get back an instant sorcery. I think I take the Fractal Summoning and put it in the sideboard. Agonizing Remorse. Choose a non-land card from their hand or graveyard. Exile that card, and we lose 1 life. Otherwise, we can take Leech Fanatic, Reckless Amplimancer. I kind of want Agonizing Remorse. The hand hate has actually seemed pretty good. Letter of Acceptance is not bad either, but Unwilling Ingredient, kind of what I want to be taking. It's a creature that can stick on the board early. If it dies, it's not that much of a consequence. If we get buffs for it, that's huge. And it does something out of the grave on a turn where we maybe don't have as much to play. Moto is lagging kind of hard during this draft. And I have not had it open for very long, so it's a little bit concerning. Expanded Anatomy seems like a decent lesson. I could almost play this in the main deck. Campus Guide's not bad. It can fix for us. I don't think I'm going to take Dragon's Approach. Novice Dissector is fine, but I want some lower cost cards. So I'm going to put Expanded Anatomy in the sideboard. Introduction to Annihilation going all the way around is kind of interesting. I'll put that in the sideboard as well. Spiteful Squad, I think, is the best card in this pack. And we could splash white. I'm going to take the Amplimancer because I want some lower mana value cards. Silverquill Campus could help us splash, so I think I'm going to take that. We're not playing white directly, so Spirit Summoning is not that great. But we may not be playing the campus. We'll see. We're probably going to be basically in Witherbloom, but there is some chance we could play like an Abzan color deck. Okay, so we got a few different cards in our colors here. Sedgemoor Witch, Menace, 3 mana 3/2, Ward, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, make a 1/1 black and green pest creature token. When this creature dies, you gain 1 life. That seems insane. I would not mind Deadly Brew or Witherbloom Apprentice or Field Trip. I think all of those cards are great. Introduction to Annihilation is not bad. Spectre of the Fens isn't bad. But Sedgemoor Witch is incredible value in a deck like this. Necroblossom Snarl is excellent fixing. It is potentially untapped fixing. There's another Moldering Karok. Snakeskin Veil, Umbral Juke. I think I'm actually going to go with the rare land here, just because it is on color fixing that can come in potentially untapped. Like, it's not crazy good or anything, but it's potentially very strong. I like Culmination of Studies, I just don't think that's the deck for it. Or this is the deck for it, obviously, because we're not playing blue or red. Flunk is very good, Blood Researcher is good, and another Mage Hunter's Onslaught. We're going to be kind of heavy in the 4-drop slot, so I kind of want to take Flunk as our removal spell here. Hopefully we can get one of these Inkling Summonings that can put it in the side. Yeah, I do want some lower mana value cards than 3s and 4s. We've seen plenty of 3s and 4s in our colors, and one of those cards from that pack may still wheel that we can play. Alright, so in this pack we've got Rushed Rebirth. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value, and then put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. This seems like an actually decent combat trick. If one of our 4-drops dies, we could tutor for any of our other creatures. Other option is Unwilling Ingredient number 2. I'm going to try Rushed Rebirth, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, it is technically a rare, so we've got 3 rares now in our colors. I would like to get some cards that will allow us to learn, because we have some good lessons, but we don't have any. So this is the Ghostway effect. Humiliate target opponent. This is Castigate, effectively. Environmental Sciences is fixing, and I think this card's almost main deckable in Limited. Scurrid Colony would not be bad, because I'm a little bit behind on creatures. Professor's Warning. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature, or target creature gains indestructible. That seems like a really good combat trick. I think I'm going to go with Environmental Sciences, because I can main deck it if I have to, and if I don't, it's still good to like tutor out of the sideboard. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Another Witherbloom Apprentice. I will take Witherbloom Apprentice. It does seem like one of the stronger cards for us, just draining our opponent by casting any instants or sorceries. But I love taking these hard removal spells. Especially because, like, we saw how strong they are. We have 8 creatures already. Yeah, I'll take Witherbloom Apprentice. Like, I still need creatures. Moto is really struggling. So I guess we are most likely to play Overgrown Arch. Hang on. Mage Duel. Actually, Mage Duel seems pretty good. Yeah, let's go with Mage Duel. We still don't have, like, any way to learn. Bayou Groff is not bad. We have some things that make pests. And it is potentially a strong creature. Otherwise, we would take like Owlin Shield Mage, which is not bad to just play as a 5-mana card. Let's see. Study Break is not in our colors, so I guess we just take another Introduction to Annihilation. Promising Dusk Mage or another Moldering Karok. I think I'd take the Karok. Alright, we do find a Inkling Summoning, which we can play in the main deck. I love Detention Vortex. I don't know how good it'll be in Limited. You know what? I'll take a Grape Shot in the side. I'm not ever playing it in this Limited deck, but I think it's cool. Campus Guide, it fixes, so might as well take it. Excavated Wall, we could side in versus aggro, because we're probably not playing red ever. I mean, not ever, but in this draft. Final pack. Wow, okay, what does this do? Devastating Mastery, destroy all non-land permanents. You can pay 4 mana instead of its actual mana cost. I think because we're playing black, we take Dark Ritual. Because playing a 3-drop on turn 1 or a 4-drop on turn 2 is insane, generally. And we have a lot of high-drop creatures. Plus, this is just like a sick like Dark Ritual art, isn't it? But we're giving somebody else a Wrath. Somebody else will be excited about it. So take Dark Ritual. Doomblade! Oh, man. Premium removal here. What am I passing up for this? Hunt for Specimens, which would probably wheel, hopefully. Deadly Brew, Flunk, Essence Infusion. I think Doomblade is in general better. It actually might be worse than Flunk in this limited format, but I'm going to take the Doomblade. It looks so good. We're like raiding the Mystical Archive right now. Oh man, Village Rites too? Passing up the rare, the Eye Twitch, which can learn for us. I have like no learn cards whatsoever, complaining about not having learn cards, and then I'm only taking these Mystical Archive cards because they're all black in this pack so far, which is sick. I mean, I still wouldn't mind getting an Eye Twitch, because Eye Twitch and Village Rites is like 1 mana, draw 3 cards. It's kind of like an Ancestral Recall, right? Silverquill Silencer. It is a 2 mana 3/2, but it's halfway outside of our colors. Like, we are splashing white potentially, but... Actually, is this card worth money? It's worth a ticket. I think I take Lash of Malice. We are still light on creatures, though. And I am considering splashing white, but I only have one card that demands I play a white. Lash of Malice is more playable, but we need to focus on picking creatures now. Just like for the remainder of this pack, if there's creatures in our colors, we gotta take them. Arrogant Poet is good for us. So is Cram Session. Complains about creatures, doesn't pick creatures. I gotta take Arrogant Poet. But Cram Session is a card that I would want, because like I said, I've had no cards that learn, and we have several very good lessons. But we need creatures, and we need creatures that come down before turn 4. So we're taking Arrogant Poet. Oh gosh, okay. Fracture is great sideboard tech. I guess I take Reckless Amplimancer, though, because it is in our primary 2 colors. Otherwise I have to take, like, Owlin Shield Mage. Revitalize is a white spell. Spell Satchel or Letter of Acceptance? I think I take Letter of Acceptance. It does actually fix for colors. And we could Dark Ritual it out turn 1, which would be pretty good. Okay, I like Field Trip. It's a learn spell. It ramps. Seems good. It only gets forests, though. So, something to be aware of. Essence Infusion. Otherwise, we take a Spiteful Squad. We're still a little light on creatures. We have enough playables, though. I think I will take a Spiteful Squad. We could Dark Ritual out Biblioplex Assistant and then put Dark Ritual back on top of our deck, but I don't think that's good. Yeah, I'll take Spiteful Squad, even though I may not be playing white at all. Basic Conjuration is a good lesson. Hunt for Specimens. This is what I want. Deadly Brew and Frostboil Snarl are probably fine. But this makes a 1/1 Pest and is another Learn card, and Learn is going to be kind of important for us. The double green lesson isn't bad, but it's not one that we really want. I guess I just take Expanded Anatomy. A third Spiteful Squad. Sure. Introduction to Prophecy, because we're not playing Eager First Year. Stonerise Spirit. And Defend the Campus. I feel like I don't have enough creatures. Wonder why that is. Okay, well, that's a land. Let's take a look at our creatures here. Environmental Sciences, I will put in the sideboard. I don't think we need to be main decking it. And I have to cut something, right? I think same with Inkling Summoning. Although that is technically a 3 mana 2/1. It's not a great creature. I need to cut 2 cards. We have a lot of good removal. Rushed Rebirth is a little bit questionable, but it's technically a tutor for our creatures and could get some huge value. Hunt for Specimens is technically a creature, even if it's a bad creature. If we're only if we're only 2 colors, I don't think we need Letter of Acceptance. And I really don't want to cut creatures, but I think I cut an Amplimancer, because Amplimancer is only good if you have a bunch of excess mana, and it's something to do late game as a mana dump, so I kind of want 1. But multiple is only good, I think, if you're in the Quandrix deck, because Quandrix ramps a lot. Alright, so we'll add the Necroblossom Snarl, and then I don't need white mana. I think we run 9 and 6, and we have a deck. We have 4 Mystical Archive cards in our colors, lots of rares, but I feel like we're really lacking in power, so here's hoping we do well. See you guys in round 1. Alright, we're on the draw, and I'm willing to keep this. Our first creature isn't until turn 3, but we have Agonizing Remorse and Doomblade, So I'm kind of interested in keeping this. Opponent leads on Team Pennant. Okay. Draw Moldering Karok. Play a Swamp. Pass the turn. I like Agonizing Remorse because it can hit creatures, so it's not bad as a 2-mana hand-hate spell, even in limited, and even against an aggressive deck. Plus, the information it provides is quite good. Ooh. No plays on turn 2. We draw Dark Ritual, which we could Dark Ritual out Moldering Karok, but I think that's our play for next turn. Let's Agonizing Remorse and see what they've got. Claim the Firstborn, defend the campus, expel, exiling a tapped creature, and then they have Rise of Extus. Creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. Gain control of target creature, mana value 3 or less. Okay, let's take Rise of Extus, because I think that's the highest value card they have. So they play a mountain, not the plains they were holding. They just revealed what they had. We draw another swamp. Okay. Play Blood Researcher. Pass the turn. Man, these Mystical Archive cards look sweet. Opponent plays a plains. They could technically claim the Firstborn, attack with Blood Researcher, and then expel it because they tapped it on their own turn. I don't think that's good, but it sounds sweet. We untap, we draw Campus Guide. So I think what we do here is Campus Guide. We'll go tutor up a... You know what, we'll tutor up a swamp, put it on top of our deck. Go to combat. Attack for 2. So opponent is going to expel. Village Rites. We draw 2. Promising Dusk Mage and a swamp. You know what? Dark Ritual. Play Promising Dusk Mage. Pass the turn. Let's get a little more on board. Opponent claims the Firstborn to gain control of Campus Guide. Well, we're not going to block. We get hit for 2. We untap. We draw a Silverquill Pledge Mage. So go to combat. Attack for 4. I still can't believe my opponent kept a hand without any creatures in it. It's kind of weird. I mean, if the rest of their deck is like all creatures and they were just holding all of their non-creature spells, then maybe, but... Play Moldering Karok, pass the turn. Next turn we can use Doomblade to clear the way. Opponent plays a Lorehold Campus. That's one of the cards they've drawn since we checked their hand. Opponent passes, we untap. We draw Flunk. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Okay, they take 7. We gain 3. And I think we're going to Field Trip. I'm going to save the Silverquill Pledge Mage just in case they are... they have a Wrath or something. And I think we take Inkling Summoning as our like additional creature we can tutor for kind of a deal here. So I could have taken the Fractal Summoning, but it's going to be a approximately comparable creature for a lot more mana. And if I draw another land, I could like Silverquill Pledge Mage and Inkling Summoning in the same turn. Okay, opponent plays a land. They expel the Karok. So if they're using single target removal, they probably don't have a Wrath, or they're desperate. We draw Swamp. Okay, play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 4. And what we're going to do now is play Inkling Summoning. I want to hold on to the Pledge Mage because I can give it flying as a form of evasion, and we have 2 removal spells we can cast after playing it. We can just use the removal spells to clear the way this turn, too. Opponent Thrill of Possibility, discarding Defend the Campus. So they draw 2 new cards. I mean, if they have Day of Judgment, which is possible, Tome Shredder. Alright. It's a 2/2 blocker. It does technically keep them alive. I mean, right up until the wolf fails to pass college. Opponent, make your mark. That doesn't save it. Oh, no, it does. It makes it a spirit. Okay. Well, we can just use Doomblade to get rid of the spirit then. Alright, we untap. If I draw, I think my other Flunk, I would use that because I don't want to show them the Mystical Archive cards because it's less likely that we have them. But we'll Doomblade it. And that's the game. Alright, sideboarding. I didn't see anything that really necessitated that we sideboard, so I think I'm just going to run it back. Alright, well, we can start off with a turn 1 Silverquill Pledge Mage, so we're going to do that. Oh, man. Dark Ritual. Out of all the cards I thought I'd be playing in Limited for a standard set, Dark Ritual was probably the last one on the list. That's not true. I can think of more broken ones. Like, other than, I don't know, Power 9. Opponent leads on Team Pennant again. Alright, opponent passes. We untap. Draw an Unwilling Ingredient. Which I could play first and then just play Bayou Groff, but where's the fun in that? Play Silverquill Pledge Mage. Pass the turn. So we'll be playing Hunt for Specimens next turn. Opponent has the shock. Dang it. We untap. We draw Moldering Karok. I'm going to Campus Guide and actually tutor for a swamp first to guarantee that we draw the swamp. This way we can Unwilling Ingredient and Hunt for Specimens next turn, or Unwilling Ingredient and play Bayou Groff. They Thrill of Possibility, discarding a mountain. So we draw the swamp. You know what? I'm going to go with the Bayou Groff play. So attack them for 2. Sack Unwilling Ingredient. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Tome Shredder. So they can grow the Tome Shredder a couple of times. We draw Lash of Malice. Alright. So, go to combat. Attack for 7. Offer the trade. Opponent exiles Thrill of Possibility, so we Lash. Okay. That was probably the best spell we could have drawn there. We hit our opponent for 5. Then we Hunt for Specimens. And Expanded Anatomy is very tempting here. I think it is better than Environmental Sciences. So I'm going to take Expanded Anatomy. Pass the turn. I'm really glad that we did the sealed first. I know it's not a lot of people's favorite thing to watch, but it really does inform me about how to draft Limited here. Or how to just draft. Because, like, you can read all of the draft articles and whatnot that you want. But right at the start of a format, I find the best way to learn how to do it is by actually doing. Or watching someone else do, I suppose. Opponent plays another Tome Shredder. We untap. We draw a forest. Play a forest. Now the question is, what am I casting Expanded Anatomy on? And the answer is Moldering Karok, because it has Trample. Go to combat. Attack for 5 with Trample and Lifelink. And Vigilance, of course. Opponent does not block. They go down to 5. Tome Shredder, gonna eat the Expel. They untap. So we're looking to draw Flunk or Doomblade. Opponent does have a Smite the Monstrous effect, which is kind of disheartening. We do get 2 draws at drawing our premium removal, though. Field Trip, that's not bad. Is that better? I don't think so. I think we try and do this first. Draw a card and lose a life. There's the Doomblade. Nice. Mana Tithe? No, you can't do this to me! Alright, pass the turn. We got Tithes. Oh, I can't believe I got Tithed and Limited. Oh, watch me get completely destroyed now. Wandering Archaic. Whenever an opponent casts an instant sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy the spell and choose new targets for the copy. Wow. Okay. We draw a swamp. We play a swamp. Let's go ahead and Field Trip. We are going to pay the 2 because we do not want our opponent copying stuff that has Learn written on it. So go get a forest tapped. And I guess I have to get Introduction to Annihilation, because even letting my opponent draw, like, we have to clear the way. I guess I could Fractal Summoning, but jeez. Pass the turn. They may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. So I can't even, like, force my opponent to copy Introduction to Annihilation and exile a bad spell or anything like that. So opponent attacks us for 5 with Trample and Vigilance. No blocks. We untap. We draw Mortality Spear. You know what? I don't want to draw them any cards. I think we pass, and we'll try and get them with like a Mortality Spear play, then untap an Introduction to Annihilation. Alright. So they shred some tomes, untap. Because like as crazy as their current board is, they might actually have something that's higher value to Mortality Spear. This card I actually think is suspiciously good. Augusta, Dean of Order. Well, that is not bad. When it goes to combat, attacks. So they can untap and tap however they want. They're basically just using it for pseudo-vigilance. So we're going to hit the Wandering Archaic and then pay for it, because we don't want our opponent to destroy a non-land permanent for free. Okay, they get a 3/2 token out of the deal. Oh, wow, this is only whenever an opponent. Okay. So they get their spirit token. So we don't block. Take damage. Opponent suits up their spirit. We untap. We draw a flunk. So they have 0 cards in their hand. I think the game plan is to flunk an Introduction to Annihilation. They can make this a 6/7, but that's still flunkable. So let's go ahead and flunk that. We're doing this before we cast Introduction to Annihilation because my opponent could potentially draw another one of the Make Your Marks. And so they could end up with a board state better than what is currently expected. We'll get rid of the spirit. Man, I'm happy we've got a lot of really good removal. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Zephyr Boots, which allows them to loot. And they equip the team pennant. So they can attack and then untap Augusta. But they're just going to keep it... Oh, it has Vigilance, so they don't even have to. They hit us for 2, and they get to loot. Come on, other flunk. They do have the Wrath. They have Devastating Mastery. We untap and draw Rushed Rebirth. We only have the one unwilling ingredient, though. And we've already exiled it. So... Alright, pass the turn. This is an issue. Opponent plays a Lorehold Apprentice. Attacks us for 2. There's nothing we can do about it. Or is it 3? It's 2. Take 2. They loot. Pitching Claim the Firstborn. We draw Sedgemoor Witch. Play the Witch. Pass the turn. That we can rush Rebirth into something else. And get a pest out of the deal. Ward is only if an opponent casts a spell, right? Yeah, okay. So I don't have to pay 3 life to target my own creature. That might be lame. Opponent plays another Lorehold Apprentice. Alright, they go to combat. They're just attacking in the air. Okay. They're attacking on the ground, too. So let's make our blocks. We'll go ahead and rush Rebirth. Make a pest. Trade. So rushed Rebirth. Let's go get Witherbloom Apprentice. We can use that to potentially drain an opponent. I think we've used all of our learn spells, unfortunately. We would really like to draw one of the learn spells here. Opponent expels. Okay. This is not good. What removal do we have left? I think we have another flunk. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. That seems pretty good. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller loses a life. That's an excellent rider to have on your hard removal spell, especially when you're trying to be aggressive. Go to combat. Attack. So they block a pest. They lose 1 life. They take 3 and go to 1. Then we gain a life, and we have 2 creatures. Awesome. We're so close. Totally forgot we had that. Opponent suits up the Lorehold Apprentice, suits up the Lorehold Apprentice. So they're going to attack because they have Vigilance, and I think they need a shock here. It's possible they have more than one. Or they could, they could have a Lightning Bolt. I'm pretty sure those are both in the Mystical Archive. But we win the match. Nice! That was a good open. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, we'll be on the draw for round 2. And even without any creatures in our hand, I think we're going to keep off of the strength of the fact that we have a Doomblade and a Field Trip spell. We draw Rushed Rebirth, so I'm not going to reveal a Swamp or a Forest, because there's no reason to reveal that information. Opponent is also black-green, plays an Arrogant Poet. We cannot Doomblade that. Play a Forest, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Forest. Goes to combat. Attacks us for 2. They're not paying any life. We take 2 and go to 18. I was going to F6, but I realized they could play a green creature here that we could Doomblade. So I'm glad I did not remain F6'd. We untap. Draw a swamp. Play a swamp. Let's go on a field trip. So we'll get a forest, and then we'll learn. I think we take the fractal summoning. Yeah, we'll take fractal summoning. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Quandrix Campus. Then plays an Augmenter Pugilist. As long as you control 8 or more lands, it gets +5/+5, but is currently a 3/3. We get hit for 2. Untap, draw Forest. Play a Swamp. Fractal Summoning. Mage Duel to kill the Pugilist. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Silver Quill Campus. They attack us for 2, paying 2 life. That's fine. We untap. We draw a Forest. Play a Forest. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Kind of hoping they cast a removal spell. I am going to Village Rites because we need to draw creatures. Moldering Karok and Promising Duskmage. Play Promising Duskmage because I can Rushed Rebirth that. If I have to. It's also big enough to force my opponent to have to pay life for Arrogant Poet if they want to get in for damage. Cram Session. They're going to learn after gaining life. They get an Introduction to Prophecy. They go to combat. Attack for 2. Paying 2. We take 2. Introduction to Prophecy, so 3 mana Preordain. They play a Plains, and then they pass. We untap, draw Silver Quill Pledge Mage, play a Forest, go to combat, attack for 2. I don't know how likely it is they have Destruction removal, but I think we play out our hand here. We'll just take a turn off of Rushed Rebirth, unfortunately. Like, if they have a Wrath here, it's a complete blowout, but I will say this limited format so far has been very fun, especially with, like, the higher power old instants and sorceries and whatnot. Leyline Invocation, they get a 6/6. They attack us for 2. Sure. We untap. We draw Bayou Groff. So, play a Forest. Go to combat. Swing with the team. Opponent blocks there. So we can Rushed Rebirth, granting lifelink. Gain 6. Rushed Rebirth. We just go get whatever our highest mana value. We don't have that many left. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Amplimancer is almost good, but I think we just get Sedgemoor Witch. And then we'll full price a Bayou Groff. And now we just hope to draw removal. If we can draw like our 4 mana destroy non-land permanent or 4 mana destroy target creature, we can get rid of the gigantic Fractal, and then opponent is going to have a lot of trouble dealing with this board. Extus Auric Overlord. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Weather the Storm? Oh, jeez. Okay. This guy has double strike. So they get to pick up Augmenter Pugilist, which is going to be huge when they replay him. Holy crap. Yeah, we need to draw, like, removal nonstop. They attack for 6. That's fine. We untap. We draw Lash of Malice. So, go to combat. Is this right? I either use Lash of Malice before we deal damage to kill Arrogant Poet. Opponent has to, like, either block here or here. I think they have to block Bayou Groff and trade if I do that, so, okay. We'll go ahead and say, ooh, I could do flying and make the decision for them. This has Menace. They could block here and trade. Flank is high value, though. Let's go Lifelink. We get a Pest, which can block the 6/6. Kill the Tragic Poet. Or not the Tragic Poet, the Arrogant Poet. Go to combat. Swing with the whole team. I did not realize this card had Menace. Okay, they're gonna kill our Lifelinker, so we don't gain any life. Opponent takes 10, goes to 7. We pass turn. We are gonna need some hard removal. I think our 4 mana removal spell wins the game. Actually, if they have removal, we just lose because they have 10 damage on board already. Maybe flying was correct there. Daemogoth Woe Eater. Beginning your upkeep, sack a creature. When you sack it, each opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and opponent attacks with double strike. Block with a Pest. We'll gain life. Okay, we untap. Draw Swamp. God, we're getting out-beefed right now. Opponent has some huge creatures. And they have that Augmenter Pugilist as well. So pass the turn. Opponent has to sack a creature, which is probably the Servant. Yep. I have to block everything this turn? No, I don't, but it's huge. That is an 8/8 with Trample. Block here. That's not going to do it. Jeez. Opponent's playing every color under the sun. We could bring in tons of Death Touch dudes. That's actually probably not unreasonable. We technically have the fixing for them, but I don't know if we can beat our opponent going late. We do only have one flunk, I need to remember. So if I was going to bring these guys in, what 3 things am I taking out? Probably I would take out like Arrogant Poet. Rushed Rebirth is good, but I don't know how good it is here. And then like... oh man, I don't know. And then we're really heavy in the 4 slot as well. And I have to redo the mana base. That's not enough forests. I don't know why it thought that was enough forests. 4 white sources, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green sources. We have 1 double black spell. Okay, we're going to run 41 cards, and we're going to start playing white. Basically just for Spiteful Squads. Alright. I might be trying too hard to like beat my opponent at their own game this time. Like it might have been better to just stay with the previous game plan and try and actually out-aggress them a little bit. Alright, we would like to play first. We have Unwilling Ingredient, Flunk, and Witherbloom Apprentice. This is actually a really good curve, especially if we draw lands. So I'm going to lead on Necroblossom Snarl, Revealing Swamp, because I need to be able to have an untapped land on turn 2. So the Snarl here is great. Opponent leads on Witherbloom Campus. We untap, we draw Mortality Spear, play a Swamp, play Witherbloom Apprentice, go to combat, attack for 1. So we really want to draw an untapped land. So anything but the Silver Quill Campus next turn is great, because then we can play Sedgemoor Witch. Opponent plays an Arrogant Poet. We untap, draw Spiteful Squad. So Flunk, always yield. Opponent's creature gets -1/-1. Hit them for 3. Take them to 15. We're definitely the aggressor right now. Opponent plays a tap land. They have another 2-drop, and it's Environmental Sciences, so they get to gain some life. Searching their library for a basic land card. We untap, draw plains, play a plains, play Sedgemoor Witch, go to combat, attack for 3. Opponent untaps, then plays Novice Dissector. Land, please. There it is. Play the forest, kill Novice Dissector, drain them for 1, make a pest, kill their 3/3, go to combat, hit them for 6. Now, you remember when I said we should probably try to out-aggress our opponent who's playing all of these colors? We're succeeding in doing that right now, even though we sided into a heavier deck, technically. Opponent gives up. Wow. So that was like the craziest aggressive hand we could have had. So we can just do that again. That'd be fantastic. Alright, we have turn 2 Spiteful Squad off of Dark Ritual. I'm going to keep this because it's a little bit silly. Opponent leads on Witherbloom Campus. We'll play Silver Quill Campus. Pass the turn. I'm probably going to lead on Agonizing Remorse unless I draw something really good that has Magecraft. The Moldering Karok. I think that's better to play than the Spiteful Squad and actually better than Agonizing Remorse. Let's go ahead and Dark Ritual that out. Pass the turn. Then we can follow up with Agonizing Remorse. Opponent plays a forest. No removal, please. Opponent plays Letter of Acceptance, which is fixing. We untap, draw a swamp. Agonizing Remorse. Opponent has Leyline Invocation, Expel, Crushing Disappointment, Augmenter Pugilist, and Extus, Auric Overlord. Which they can't play Extus next turn because he's double black and white. They can play Expel, they can play Pugilist. I think I take Expel from them. Pugilist is a little bit of a problem, but Expel is more so. Play a forest, go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3. Okay. They untap. They play Pugilist. We untap. Draw a forest. Go to combat. Attack and offer the trade. Opponent takes it. We gain 3 out of the deal. Play a swamp. Play Spiteful Squad. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Next turn we full price the Groff. Opponent might main phase Crushing Disappointment to try and hit lands. They do. They do get a second black source so they can play Extus next turn. We untap. Draw Doomblade, which does not hit Extus. Go to combat. Attack for 2. We can kill the token with Leyline Invocation, or that they make from Leyline Invocation. Pass the turn. And they still have a lot of cards in hand. I guess because they did just draw some. So here comes Extus. We can't flunk him either. But if we draw... if we draw a flunk, we can actually kill him with... we can kill him with Spiteful Squad. So, go to combat. Attack for 7. If he blocks the Groff with him to trade, we can also kill him there. Aha! Extus! You never went to school, but you flunk! The flavor's just great. Target creature gains trample, so they can pick up their Pugilist. And they get to draw. But then he becomes a 0-2... Oh no! Shoot! He's a trample, or he's still double striking. So he does kill our guy. He stacks up the Groff, but we do trade off for him still. Okay. That was what I was worried about. Put 2/1 counters on the Groff. Alright. It's not lethal or anything, but play the Swamp. Pass the turn. So I'm expecting my opponent to do like a big Leyline Invocation. If we can draw our Witherbloom Apprentice who Magecrafts to drain, we can kill them if they play 1 creature as a blocker. No! My 7/6! He's so good! We get a Moldering Karok. Untap, we draw. Hunt for Specimens. So let's lead on Hunt for Specimens. And we'll get, I think, Expanded Anatomy. Play Moldering Karok. Pass the turn, because then we can make a big Karok and Doomblade whatever they play. And that's like almost as good as our initial line. I'm glad that we got to draw a card off of that. I also like that the lessons can be main decked. Opponent plays a Master Symmetrist, and then plays a Dragon's Guard Elite Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then you can double it. So we untap, we draw Witherbloom Apprentice. So we can play Witherbloom Apprentice. So let's Expanded Anatomy. And then if my opponent blocks, we can Doomblade to kill both of their creatures. We're losing multiple drain triggers, though, by doing this. But we have to keep the pressure on here. Opponent is going to double block. Okay. So Doomblade the Symmetrist. Then we trample over. Pass the turn. If they play a land, they can Leyline Invocation and make a creature large enough to profitably block our Karok. If they play it now, they would just trade. We do have a lot of time, potentially. Okay, opponent plays a Reckless Amplimancer and a Springmane Servan. They gain up to 7. We untap. We draw Lash of Malice. Okay, so if I play... I'm going to be playing out the Witherbloom Apprentice first, because if I play Lash of Malice, I want to be able to drain. If I attack and they double block, they have 4 toughness, 1 tramples over, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could take them to 2. Otherwise, I can use Lash of Malice to kill a Springmane Servant. Then we trample over 3, 4, 5 and take them to 2. Okay, that's better. So go to combat. I'm not going to attack with the... you know what? I am going to attack with the Pest this turn, because odds are they have to double block. This just kills them then. Unless they have 1 mana removal, which is possible. So we Lash of Malice to drain them. Hit them for 7. That card is so good. It's offensive and defensive. I think it's better than Disfigure in a lot of ways. Oh, we're 2-0 going into round 3. I'll see you guys there. Alright, so we're on the play. This hand is slow, but I think it's worth keeping. We have all of our colors of mana, because we're not playing white currently. I did not make that sideboard permanent, because I think our primary game plan is still stronger. Us being on the play, leading on Agonizing Remorse, could just completely neuter our opponent's hand. We got a Mage Hunter's Onslaught as well. So let's see. Opponent has Shadrick's Silverquill, Spirit Summoning, and Prismari Pledge Mage. So this card basically looks unbeatable, but doesn't come down till 5. It's not Doombladeable. I'm going to take the Silverquill, because if they play Pledge Mage, we can just Doomblade it, because we don't have any other plays. Yeah, pass the turn. I think that was our best bet for how to answer that card. I was like, I could just kill it, but if they play it pre-combat main, they get his ability the first turn they have him. So they play an island. Here comes the Pledge Mage. And like, we can even wait to Doomblade it. Play a swamp, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So they're going to play a mountain or a plains and probably Spirit Summoning here. Yeah. So we're going to Doomblade the 3/3 so we don't take the damage. They can have their 3/2 Spirit. Opponent is playing 4 colors. with probably a lot of hybrids. We draw Promising Dusk Mage. So play a forest, and we'll go with the Karok. Because the Karok is the highest value card that we can connect with right now. I find the lifelink is really good in this format. So, opponent untaps. They play their Mountain. Guiding Voice. They put a 1/1 counter and learn, getting Introduction to Prophecy. Introduction to Prophecy. They get to Preordain. No attacks. Alright. We untap and get a Mage Duel. This gives +1/+2, so we become a 4/5. That lets us double dip on the lifelink, but we have to cast an instant or sorcery to play it for 1. I really wanted to get more on the board, but I think this is actually worth it. And it's not. Target creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Okay, so let's do it. Go to combat. Hit them for 4. Nice. Opponent finally plays their Swamp. They play a Spectacle Mage, which is a 2/2 flyer. We untap and draw Arrogant Poet. Alright, go to combat. I think we are going to offer... If they have a trick, we'd rather them use it now, I think. Okay, they don't seem to have a trick. And then we will play Promising Dusk Mage. Pass the turn. They play another Mountain. Elemental Masterpiece. Make 2 4/4 tokens. Okay. They hit us for 2 in the air. We untap. Draw a forest. Let's go ahead and... Full price Bayou-Groff. Pass the turn. No attacks. If they want to get real aggressive, we're going to let them get in for a big hit. This kind of strikes me as probably 3-color Splash Shadrix. I mean, if you're making treasures, potentially by discarding your big spells, because a few of the Prismari cards have that rider, like it would be easy to splash some big bombs, so that does make sense. Not something I would have considered doing either. So... Pilgrim of the Ages. When there's a battlefield, search your library for basic planes, reveal it, put it in your hand. 6 mana, pick it up from your graveyard, put it in... Okay. They get a Plains. They play a Plains. Then they play a Campus Guide. And they don't tutor because they don't want to draw land next turn. We draw Unwilling Ingredient. So I think we just play out the creatures. Mage Hunter's Onslaught gets better the more creatures we attack with in a single turn. And we still are at a really high life total. So even if they do kind of try and sneak in some cheeky damage, this is still better. Our swing gets better if we draw something like Village Rites or Flunk, or our other Destroy Non-Land Permanent. They're probably just going to cycle Letter of Acceptance here. They do. No attacks. We untap. Draw Swamp. Yeah. I think we're going to do it. Kill a token. Go to combat. Attack with the whole team. Pay 2 life to give that flying. So they're going to block the Karok. They're going to trade their... If they have like a defensive Anthem, we are screwed. They're going to end up taking 3, and then they're going to take 4 from the rider on Mage Hunter's Onslaught. So they lose 4 life. They lose almost their entire board, and then take 3. Nice. Pass the turn. I think we came out ahead in that exchange. Opponent plays a land. Heated Debate, they kill our 2/3. They attack us for 4, sure. I'd really like to draw Village Rites now. Like, hitting them for 1 and cashing in our 1/1 for 2 cards seems good. Reconstruct History. Return up to 1 target artifact, 1 target enchantment, and 1 target instant sorcery card to your hand. I didn't see what they picked up, but they picked up 3 cards. We draw a Forest. Go to combat. Hit them for 1. So that was a massive reload for them. Which is going to be a problem. They definitely picked up their gigantic sorcery. So they're going to make a whole bunch more elementals. They hit us for 4. We go to 19. Elemental Masterpiece. They make 2 more 4/4s. We draw nothing. Pass the turn. This is not looking good. So I'm going to have to chump and I think cycle Unwilling Ingredient away. Because we're going to need a series of good draws to have a chance. And we need it to prevent the damage. Opponent attacks us for 12. We'll block. So we only take 8. Go to 11. They play Letter of Acceptance. That's the artifact they picked up. They cycle... Oh, they're playing the Pledge Mage. Okay. But we don't have a board wipe. Cycle Unwilling Ingredient from Grave. We get Dark Ritual. Not going to be much use here. So opponent's deck is much heavier than ours. And that's the game. Okay. Feel a little bad losing to, like, 5-color control. It might even be worth bringing in an Introduction to Annihilation. Let's run it back. Just gonna have to try and run them over. If we get, like, the 1, 2, 3, 4 hand we got before, that beats basically anything. So this is Village Rights and nothing else. If we got a single extra land, this hand would be amazing, but I think I have to mulligan. Another Agonizing Remorse. I will keep, and I'm going to put back Mage Duel. So we're going to lead on Agonizing Remorse, and then play Field Trip, which can hopefully get us one of our spells that can make a creature. Opponent leads on a mountain. We untap and draw Dark Ritual. Play a forest. Agonizing Remorse. Okay, they have... Whoa! They have 2 Elder Dragons! What? Reconstruct History is pretty good. Their creature with flying that has ward is pretty good. Pledge Mage we might be able to flunk. This is 7 mana, and I don't think they have a way to accelerate to it. I think we take the 1/4. Pass the turn. If they get to the Elder Dragon, we're just gonna die. And we have to try and kill them before then. Opponent plays an island, plays the Pledge Mage. So flunk currently not lethal. We untap, draw forest, play a forest, field trip, get a forest, and we'll get Fractal Summoning. Pass the turn. I will Dark Ritual out Fractal Summoning to just get the biggest creature I can. So hopefully my opponent does not draw premium removal that can handle the Fractal, and we can just ride the power of recursive mathematics to victory. Opponent plays Plains, plays Pilgrim of the Ages. They get a Plains, which will let them get to Waterfall Aerialists next turn. So we untap, draw Sedgemoor Witch. New plan. Play Sedgemoor Witch. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Plains, attack for 2. No blocks, take the 2. 4 mana, they play Waterfall Aerialists. So we untap, draw Mage Duel. We're just going to, like, cast out most of our hand, right? Dark Ritual. Always yield. Make a Pest. Mage Duel here for 1. Make a Pest. Then we can flunk here. Pay 1 extra. Okay. Then we have to pay for ward. You know what? I didn't need to Dark Ritual this turn and shouldn't have. Because I only had 1 black mana pip that mattered. And I think I could have paid for everything else. So it was technically a mistake. Hit them for 4. My opponent can spend their entire turn casting Reconstruct History to pick up 1 spell. We can still make a relatively big Fractal, but I should not have Dark Ritualed there. I, for some reason, thought I was going to Fractal Summoning for 1. Opponent plays an Eager First Year. Passes. We untap. Draw Mortality Spear. Kill Eager First Year. Get a Pest. Go to combat. Flunge. Opponent trades off with a Pest. We gain a life. Opponent untaps. We play a Stonebound Mentor, which is a 3/3. Whenever a card leaves your graveyard, scry 1. So they're holding Reconstruct History and Velomachus Lorehold, which, if they draw a land, they can play their dragon, which is the thing I was afraid of. Make a big Fractal. Why does he have Vigilance? It's just like, there's so much text on that card. Make a 3/3, go to combat. Flunge again to get a 5 damage in. Really praying they do not draw a land. Or if they do, that it is at least a tap land. We gain a life. They untap. 5 mana. They play Elemental Summoning. That's pretty good. That's not the end of everything here, because they can't block our Menace creature or they lose. Go to combat. Attack for 9. Yeah, if they double block the creature with Menace, They just lose. They block a pest, block the fractal, take 2 plus 3, which is 5, and go to 1. We gain a life. Play Arrogant Poet, which is a flyer. Play a swamp, pass the turn. We just need our Mage Hunter's Onslaught, which is a guaranteed kill next turn. Unless my opponent casts a Wrath of God or something like that. They drew the land. Here comes Velomachus himself. Which is going to be pretty good. They attack for 5. They hit a sorcery. 5 CMC or less. Instant or sorcery. If they hit removal, we lose. But if they don't, we can sneak past all of their creatures because we have one too many sources of damage. Lorehold command? Ugh. Well, that takes them out of lethal range. How do you have so many rares? So many rares and mythics. Okay, never mind. They're dead. Kill Velomachus. We get a pest. Go to combat. Attack. They may not actually be dead, but... No, they are dead. Because if they block, and block, they lose 3 life and then take 1. If they block and block... Yes! Oh, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to win that game. Problem is, now we'll be on the draw, and my opponent's deck is really good. Like, really good. I don't think we adjust for the white sideboard. I think that is way too slow versus our opponent's deck. I want to mention that the only reason we've even stood a snowball's chance in hell is because Agonizing Remorse is amazing. This is a mulligan. There's too many lands in that hand. This hand is better, but we really, really need a forest. And we have to put back a land. I really wanted to keep the land for Sedgemoor Witch, but if we don't draw a forest or our check land very soon, we're going to be in huge trouble. Opponent leads on mountain. We draw the forest. Oh, thank God. Play the swamp. Pass the turn. We're going to have a great curve here. Opponent plays the plains. Nothing. We untap. We draw Campus Guide. Play a forest. Play Witherbloom Apprentice. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a swamp. 3 mana. Heated Debate. Okay. That could have been worse, but that's fine. We untap. Draw swamp. So, play Blood Researcher. Pass the turn. Sedgemoor Witch is technically higher value and has ward, but odds are my opponent might have another removal spell. And next turn, if we can play it, we can get a little more extra value out of Village Rites. Opponent plays a mountain. Campus Guide. Okay, well, Campus Guide cannot block alone. They choose an island. Okay. Then they pass. We untap. We draw Flunk. Play a swamp. Play Sedgemoor Witch. Go to combat. Attack for 2 with Menace. So we're trying to set up for Flunk plus Village Rites next turn, because that would be really sick. So we can Flunk to get a Pest, which we could then sack to gain a life, put a counter on our Menace guy. We're really going to have to hope that this burst of synergy is able to take down our opponent. But if they have their Elder Dragon here, we're just screwed. Of course they do. It's a 2/5 flying double strike. So I think they have to... We can flunk him down to a 0/1 if they block with him. The target player makes an Inkling, and then the other one draws a card and loses a life. They gave us the card. Okay. So we have Menace on both of our guys. We untap, draw another... So we can Campus Guide plus Village Rites plus Flunk. Play a forest, play Campus Guide. We're not going to tutor for a land. Go to combat and attack. They're going to double block. So we have to put Shadrick Silverquill first. Okay. And we flunk the Elder Dragon. Get a 1/1. He'll get -4/-4. Then we Village Rites, sacking the Pest. We can get another Pest. We gain a life, putting a counter here. Then we get to draw 2 cards. We get to kill both the guys they blocked with. We have a Doomblade to follow up. So if they do get their other dragon, we can kill him before he attacks, which is awesome. And they take 3. Unfortunately, we do lose our best creature in our deck, but I think trading our rare for their mythic that was absolutely going to annihilate us is worth it. We have to hope that they just kind of like brick here, because our opponent's deck is a lot heavier than ours, and we're not winning the early game hard enough. Elemental Summoning, they make a blue and red 4/4. We untap. Come on, something good. Forest is not exactly what I had in mind. play Forest, Doomblade the Elemental. They're 2 turns away from the big dragon if they do have him. Go to combat, swing with the whole team. We're just going to apply as much pressure as we can. Opponent probably trades with the 2-1, unless they really need the blocker for the Menace guy. Okay, they take the full 6. They untap. 6th land. Letter of Acceptance. Do they cycle it here? No. They play Pillar Drop Warden, which is a 1/5 with reach, but they can pick up an instant or sorcery, so they could pick up the Elemental Summoning or Heated Debate. That is an issue. Why are we bricking this hard? Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Swing out. Opponent blocks. Well, we will kill the 2-1. They'll take 3 and go to 6. Like, we can't not put the pressure on here, so... But our opponent is stabilizing rapidly. I mean, if we can keep drawing hard removal... Oh my god, really? Okay. That's still bad, but it's a 7-mana spell, so it's pretty good. We untap. We draw Mage Duel, which doesn't kill any of their guys. Play a Forest. Pass the turn. If we can draw our 3/3, we can Mage Duel down a 4/4. Opponent untaps. They cycle their Letter of Acceptance. They're attacking us for 8. No blocks. We go to 12. They play a Waterfall Aerialists, which we can fight to kill. Oh my god! We drew so many extra cards! Man, if I don't fight, we're just gonna lose. Like, I can chump the Elemental with the Pest, so we're gonna wait 1 more turn. Oh, man. We drew so many lands. So many. We had so much time, too. But it's like I said, if that, like, burst of synergy that we had there wasn't enough, we weren't gonna win. So we can chump and gain a life. Man, if they didn't have that Heated Debate, or if they didn't have their crazy 5-drop Elder Dragon, we're at 6. We don't have any burn spells for reach or anything like that. They play Pilgrim of the Ages, which is a creature we could fight and kill if we had to, but not one we want to. They get a Plains. They play the Plains. They play another Letter of Acceptance, and they play a Pledge Mage. They are hellbent, finally. I don't think there's any sequence of draws, because Village Rites is like our only redraw. Alright, fine. I guess that's just how this is gonna end. Like, we'll reveal our whole hand because... Oh, that's so disappointing. We just drew like 9 lands. We had so many cards in this deck that could have done something, and we just couldn't find them. And I mean, like, I don't normally get this frustrated over it, but, like, we were set up so well. It's not like it was just regular top decking. We had extra draws. We had sweet synergies. Opponent's deck is better than mine, and I by no means expected to win. Like, I was almost positive we were going to lose this match. But, like, there was a chance, right? There was a chance that it could have happened where we would win, and it just didn't happen. Like, you're going to hit the high side of variance sometimes, and sometimes you're going to hit the low side of variance here, which is drawing 9 lands. But anyway, that deck was sick. I'm really happy that we got to draft it. Strixhaven Limited, fun as hell. Absolutely recommend. If you have the chance, go for it. Go play it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier than that. And, yeah. I'm going to go take Porter for a walk because he really, really wants to go. So I'll see you guys next time. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We're very close to the all-important 1,000 mark. So it'd mean the world to me if we could get there before my birthday, which is very soon, this month, in fact. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.